Hi there, welcome to another development session with Eternal Step. This is our second one, and hopefully this is a much more progressive build. What you're going to see in this build is quite a few of the systems and the changes that we've made. So hopefully you can get to see those. I'll quickly show you like things like the cards, leveling system, and other things like that. So let's get on with it. So obviously, as before, the control system, you get to pick the floors. You get to floor 19, you unlock it. This is the kind of like mock leveling up screen that we've got at the moment. I'll quickly explain how our leveling system works and what we've done to try and give you some element of customization to it. So obviously you can see you get a token, and this is the token moving around the screen there in all its glory. The idea is that every 10 levels you get to put a token into any one of these stats. Eventually the blank ones will be filled out, because once you get a skill, that will populate the leveling up system, and then what can happen is you can spend tokens into that skill and it will do something different once you've spent so many points in it. For instance, it might change the attack, or it might give it a extra boost, or it might give it a new area of effect, or it might boost damage. Basically it will change the skill. So it's about, if you get a skill you like it, pop some points into it and you essentially will upgrade the skill. The problem is you only get one token every 10 levels. When we designed it, we wanted it to make sure that you're not getting too many of them so they become to the point where they're meaningless. Like if you were to spend it in a skill, you might have to spend 5 points into a skill before it unlocks. So if you think about it, that's quite a lot of points that you could be putting in attack, you could be putting it in health. It depends on how you want to build your character, really. So we limited it to 1 every 10 levels. And we've pretty much left it at that. There's no essential. There is a few caps to certain things, because in testing we found out that once you got to a certain level, it was literally getting a little bit crazy, especially like with the dodge, because you can affect your dodge rate. You were literally dodging from one side of the screen to the other in like one dive. So we kind of had to put issues on that. So yeah, you put your little point in it, and eventually there'll be a tooltip to explain what putting the point does. So for attack, it's generally obvious it's going to raise the attack. Swords just raises the damage across all swords. Same with axes, daggers, and then any other weapons that we might put in. So I'm going to stick it in attack. So there you go, that's permanent choice now. That's done. Then it obviously takes us onto our loot system. As you can see, there's a few more weapons since the last one. The 3 that I haven't picked up are rare weapons, and they're quite rare. I've only ever had one of them once, and then I've not come across them again. And stupidly I equipped it, died, and I've lost the weapon. So as you can see, you basically look at it, you pick your weapon. I'm going to go just for the sword. The numbers now relate to how many you've got of that weapon as before, and what we're going to do eventually is obviously you can spend cards to buy better weapons. So for instance, as it's hovering over this weapon, it's a rare weapon, it might say, well, you need 10 cards to basically craft that weapon again. So it's kind of like, well, I don't really use Mega Hammer, I'll get rid of my Mega Hammers and I'll trade those to get the rare weapon. That's what we're going to do eventually, but that's work in progress. So I'll go with sword. Added a few more armors. That's the rare armor currently in the build. We've added thief rags, which I'll get, which you can see halves trap damage. So here you can see shields, and as you can see, we've added 2 more ones. One is obviously a special shield that was kind of created for the first website that ever followed us, and did a review on us, and I think me and Paul were pretty happy by reading that, and Nathan, the guy who runs the website, has been fantastic ever since. So as homage to that, his shield has been put in the game. I'm not going to use that shield, I'm going to leave that for him to try out if he is watching the dev video. I'm just going to pick the normal kite shield. The stinger shield, which was at the bottom, that does damage back to the enemy. So this is the last kind of element of customization, which is the monster cards. What happens is when you kill a monster, it has a chance to drop in a monster card, and then it gets added to the collection, much like all the other ones, but it modifies slightly how certain things work. At the moment, these are the more unique ones tied to certain monsters. There will be more generic ones that you can get, which will modify your game slightly. And by modifying the game, we mean things like increased loot, lower loot if you wanted to do that, make enemies harder, make enemies weaker, increase your attack, and so on and so forth. But these ones are more unique. So we've got the one on the slime is kind of like the recoil retaliate. And the recoil retaliate, what happens is every time you get hit, spikes come out of your body and deal damage back. So it's similar to what the slimes do to you. It's kind of like the central theme. Skeleton archers, I wish I had one, because that's kind of like my favourite one, because 90% of the time it's absolutely pointless, but then every so often it actually hits an enemy and it's so sweet, and the little smile escapes your face and you think, yeah, that was totally worth it to see that slime just get obliterated. Basically what that does is it fires an arrow across the screen just randomly. So as you're running around, every so often an arrow comes flying by, and if it hits any enemies it does damage. The sword berserker, which is very good I have to say, but I've only ever had one of them. The sword berserker gets rid of the time delay between the combo, so you'll see when I go into it and play the sword, you'll see that you do a 2-hit combo and then there's a pause before you do another 2-hit combo. The sword berserker essentially gets rid of the delay between the animations, so essentially you can keep chopping. It's very good if you want to spam your way through. I'm going to go with no card. Waste not, want not. I'm trying to keep those things, for people to discover. So those are the 3 pillars of kind of like the way that we've got the customization going at the moment. You've got the customization in leveling up your character. You've then got the customization in picking your weapon, armor, and skills, which hopefully a skill weapon will drop, and I can show you that. And then the last element of customization comes from the monster cards, which are essentially modifiers to the game. So yeah, I've also, you can see we've kind of added some little graphical effects on with Mesa. Added some graphical effects like dust and particles, and we're adding layers and keeping it going. At the moment, we've tried to make the game. We've been working on the actual optimization and the performance of the game. We're trying a new, slightly different rendering technique to try and make it run as fast as possible. We isolated one issue that was making it slow down, so we fixed that. So I've got a loot floor straight away, and as you can see we've changed the icons, so that little card that popped up there symbolises that you've just got a normal weapon. We decided to change that instead of having loads of words popping up on the screen, because it pulls away the focus. So designed it to just be a solid colour that you can kind of instantly recognise without being focused on it too much, so that was a pretty easy floor. So I'm going to put the shield because it was better, no difference in the sword. Still got the equipment store system, and as you can see nothing on slots, so we'll carry on. I'll basically do the dev until essentially I die or I get to a point where I feel that I should stop, which is generally probably before the boss. So we've still got our lovely slimes. We've slightly changed the numbers that appear for damage now, so red says you got hit. Also the pause screen is going to get updated as well, so you'll see that, but as you can see I'm level 22, so if you're thinking it's a bit easy, it's because I'm quite over leveled at this point. One of the core aspects of the game is we wanted to make the game challenging, which we believe the game is. I can still get killed at level 22 on floor 3 or 4 if you're not really paying attention. But the idea is that you always kept your level. To me it was kind of like a balancing act. I wanted to make sure that the content was challenging enough that people could go through it, but if you kept struggling or you kept failing, at least one thing that carried over was your level. So effectively, at some point, you will be strong enough or powerful enough that the challenge equals out for yourself. But we didn't want to go overboard, so it kind of skewed. The first couple of floors might be quite easy, you know, slimes aren't doing much damage, but because of your gear and equipment does affect what happens, it scales quite well. So probably about floor 5 or 6 they'll be doing enough damage that they start, you know, hurting me. So I'll equip the dagger and show you the dagger. I'll also equip the stinger, kind of show you what the stinger does, but I don't want to give away too much of what they are. So I'll also show you that pots are now destructible, so you can break through them in the Dark Souls way, which is diving. So the dagger was kind of like a weapon we wanted to add that was quick and did a little combo. So you can see it gets 3 kind of like hits in, as opposed to kind of like the 2 the sword does, so it's a quicker weapon. So kill those. I'll stick with Stinger to show you what Stinger does. I'll stick with that. There you go. That's the King's Armour, which is quite rare. Bizarrely, it didn't come up as a rare, so we'll have to look at that. I'm going to keep the Thief's Rags. So archers are still as annoying as ever, trying to kill you. But obviously, kind of leveled, so alright, thank you. One hit at the moment. Quite good. The Stinger shield I'll show you. So if you block now, a portion of the damage goes back to the enemies. So you can see they're getting damaged. So it's quite useful if you're getting overwhelmed with slimes. See, the hammer always gets me killed, so I'm gonna ignore it. The offside with the stinger is it's very, very weak. So although it does deflect damage back, the likelihood is it will break very quickly. So I wouldn't use it as a method of attack. Oh, there you go. That's a monster card. So that little noise and the different side of the cards. So I've got a slime monster card for killing the slimes there. So obviously, eventually those cards could be random in terms of it might not always be, you know, the kind of card that we need. Let's kill these. At some point, I should start like a fresh run. As the floors go, we'll get more difficult. So floor 6. I can see what's going to come. Yeah, I know that's going to come. That's why I hate this floor. Kill that guy. You can now also die through enemies. We've made it so that you can't kind of get cornered. So if you are cornered, now you can at least have the option of getting out of the way. There we go. I'll take the axe. I think the axe is probably my favourite weapon. So obviously the ones that you're equipping, you don't get to keep. So obviously that doesn't add to the tally. We've got our wisps there that like to blow up every time we get near you. That was a rare, so I've actually managed to get a rare weapon. So we'll find out what that is at the end. Could be a shield. I tend to just run past the wisps. They will be getting another move soon. They'll be slightly more annoying. Let's go back to the Terror Shield. So I'll show you that with the thingy. That time it did bring it up as a rare. Look, it's the King's Armour. So that was the rare weapon that I got. So obviously by equipping that, that's now taken it out of the queue. I could have stored that if I was happy with my armour, and then when I died, at least the next time you go in, you could have thought, well, I'll cut that armour. And it works particularly well, especially on the boss for instance, it's better to go in with better equipment. It makes the boss fight just a lot easier. It's kind of like you have to weigh in. Do you want to waste the item that you've just got, or do you want to store it and use it again? And then obviously there you've got the traps. We're going to be adding a lot more traps in the future. At the moment we're just kind of like getting everything in. As I say, we've been constantly working on systems, and I know I'm getting into this a lot, but that's fine. And so we've also changed slightly the amount of pressure. So like with the skill system, eventually you'll be able to equip the skills as you go in. You'll be able to equip 2 skills as you go into the tower, much like everything else. So that's the final kind of element of customization. So then the 2 skills that you equip in change depending on the weapon. So Flurry on a two-hander, for instance, does that effect, which is quite good if you've got enemies either side or you need to get rid of enemies quicker. We've done it so it uses a lot more stamina now, so it's less spammy. I'll show you on the sword. Yeah, I'll show you. It's the same on the axe because the axe is two-hander. So on the sword, it kind of does this effect. So, and that was the level up symbol. So I'll level up. So as you can see, pots. Yeah. There'll be a monster card that actually gives the pots a chance to drop loot. So that's a way you can modify your game. There'll also potentially be one that when pots break, like that, the actual bits that fly off will actually damage enemies. That'll be another modifier. We wanted to create lots of different cool little things. So like with the armors and the skill system and all the rares, we tried to add some kind of skill to it or some kind of property to it that makes it better than just you've got a rare weapon. We wanted to try and it's a rare weapon with better stats. So all the rare weapons kind of have their own uniqueness to them. The Scaper Shield has a property to it. The rare weapons have a property to them now. So the thing with the King's Plate is it gives you the best possible defense, because the way that our defense works is it looks at the floor you're on. So the floor you're on, it basically picks where the defense can be. But with the King's Plate, it will always give you the best, kind of like the best possible armour for that floor. So if you're on floor 365, for instance, the armour would be very good on that floor. So it kind of gives you that instant boost of armour that you might need. And then obviously when you're going back into the dungeon, it's better to equip the King's Plate, because the King's Plate will always give you a better chance of getting a better defense from the offset, as opposed to all the other ones, which the range of them could be slightly rubbish to slightly good. So that's what we tried to do here. This is one of the kind of like random trap floors. There is occasionally a chest, but there isn't today. So I looked out there. No, quite sad. So now we're on floor 11. So we're kind of getting there now. We're currently also working on, obviously, new enemies. The way the enemies work is they get introduced on floors. So like we wanted to make floors 1 to 19 essentially introduce you to 3 types of enemy, or 4, show you the kind of mechanics to expect. And then obviously post level after the boss, kind of reintroduce some more mechanics, but make them harder. Introduce some of the old mechanics you have, introduce some of the old enemies that you maybe have been fighting for a while, but suddenly have a new move, etc, etc. And it's progressive, we wanted, because obviously the game can go on forever. We wanted to introduce things gradually, so like we wanted to make it so you never quite know what's coming. Like the slimes, the slimes now have a chance of doing another move, which you can see there. Once you get past floor 10, they have the ability to teleport to you like that and attack you from below. Whereas before floor 10, they couldn't do that. So that makes them slightly more annoying. No stamina. Oh no, that's the other issue, see, we're running out of stamina. Yeah, I'm just under half health. I mean, even though I am technically over level, I'm still almost dead from a couple of hits there. And that was the kind of trade-off. We don't want to make it too easy. These guys are going to have a new attack as well at some point, and they're also going to have different in movement. Oh no! So the way that they actually get around is going to change. We're going to slightly modify the way they do, which will probably make them more annoying than they already are. Oh, that was bad. Dive into some enemies. Kill that slime. Kill him. You can get past floor 20 now. We made it the initial like release. You can get to floor 20, kill the boss. You can actually get past floor 20. We'll carry on now. Introduces the new tile set. Oh, that hurts. I timed that completely wrong. So I've got a few monster cards, so I might I could potentially kill myself soon, and I'll get to floor 19. Well, I'll get to the boss. I'll show you the boss a little bit, and then I'll die on the boss. And then I'll show you a monster card, and then I will call it there. Oh, that's bad. Unless I die before getting there. Get some stamina back. Because the new type of enemy that we'll introduce post floor 20 is going to be like a bullet hell kind of enemy. Because we are going to introduce some bullet hell kind of mechanics with lots of projectiles and things flying at you. It's just, as we said, we're kind of like introducing it gradually. Annoyingly, I've not had a challenge floor, which is quite sad because I could show you a challenge floor. Got a rare, yay. Maybe we'll get a challenge floor before 19. It would be nice. If not, I might do another short video showing you when I get the challenge floor. Die! So it's kind of like a nice introduction to the game, but we know that even in it, when you start the game, you know it's quite difficult from the offset. But I know a lot of these layouts now off by heart, so I know where the enemies are, so we can. Oh, well, that might be a challenge for get all my hopes up. Monster card. Do you know what? That's the first time I've had a Wisp monster card, so I'm interested to see how that all flies. Obviously, we've tested it, but I've never actually got one in game, so that'd be interesting. Dive out the way. Smash your pot. Okay. See, I'm under half health already. Even at this level, it's slightly crazy that it still takes me almost 2 potions to get to the boss. One more floor to checkpoint. Oh yeah, get rid of these. Oh, rare. Oh no. Oh, you. Damn it. Come here. I know the other one's going to do his attack in a second. There we go. I know your gig. There you go. I'm not going to. It's a lovely card, and I really do like the... Because you can see there at the bottom, it's a low chance of guard, but it shields break on knockback. So obviously, this is what we want to do with rare weapons. If give them some kind of uniqueness to them. But obviously, do you want to equip that and lose it, or do you want to store it and have a better chance the next time you die? So that's now got stored, so the next time I come in I can use it. So floor 19. There's still a lot of stuff that we need to add to floor 19. In terms of just aesthetic design things. Right, so I'll have a half go at the boss. I'm going to purposely die, so please don't think that I've died accidentally. It also... oh, she's already dead. I've already killed her, so obviously she doesn't appear. So we'll skip the boss. And actually I'll show you the kind of like the change in kind of like the tiles. So this is essentially like the next kind of area. What we're going to have is... this is where it starts getting quite difficult for me. As you can see, these guys are taking a fair few hits. I'm now getting cornered. Go away. I completely forgot to kill the boss already. I'm gonna cheat. Well, not cheat, but use the potion. Pick a potion. I would love a challenge floor. Please give me a challenge floor. No, you're not going to do a challenge. Oh, that was bad. Just not bothered there, really, should I? Gone home. No! I love the fact he stood on spikes. It's such a pain. Right, just deliberately do that. Oh, I see. Skellington knows what he's doing. Come over here. I'm not going to play games. Thank you. Oh, that was a well-placed shot, I must say, my friend. Whoever that archer was. Oh, rare. What kind of rare? King's Blade. Yeah. Should store one, really. Just randomly throwing them away. No! Don't use them for fire. Block it. Yeah. My shield's good enough. I would love a challenge floor before this capturing eats my hard drive. So we are going to obviously change the way that the tower looks. And if we don't get a... oh, we have got a challenge floor. This is the worst challenge floor. This is a challenge floor where you just have to survive. So you've got 60 seconds. We are going to add some kind of indication to let you know how things go. But slimes will continuously spawn, and I might die on it. If you get past it, so if you survive, you'll get guaranteed a chest with a rare in it. But obviously, it gets quite bad. No, go away. No, go away. I'm going to purposely not pop a potion, because I think it's going to be my untimely end. So there you go. So that's the survival floor. There is a funner floor where, you know, death isn't so assured. Now it's the one where you break pots to get items, Zelda style. We wanted to say hi to Zelda, so we thought breaking pots to get items. What more fun way could we go? So we'll have a look. I'm going to pick the bog standard sword. See, I could have had a King's Guard there if I would have stored one. But silly me. I used them all up. Carry a kite shield. So, the wisp is there, look. So, corpse explosion, which is quite good. See, I'm tempted. I'm going to show you the archer one just because I think it's hilarious how bad the actual arrow is most of the time. Because it doesn't home in on enemies or anything, it's just simply fires an arrow across the screen. And it's kind of one of those things when it actually hits an enemy, you can't believe it's actually hit an enemy. So what you'll see now is, there you go, an arrow will, at some point, fly across the screen. You can see that. There you go, across the screen. So that's basically all that happens. So you've got a personal archer somewhere off screen, firing arrows at just anything, and once in a while, he'll hit an enemy. And when it does, you kind of sit there and you go, yeah, that was totally worth it because that saved me killing that enemy or getting it. I've actually been saved by the arrow. So I've actually been saved by it. But it literally just carries on firing an arrow. It's a way that we wanted to modify the game and that's something quite cool. Oh, I know, see that dodge, still see that dodge. Oh, that was really good. Yeah, not good. So that is. Oh, see it hit though. You see, it's 6 whole damage. It's amazing. So yeah, it's a fun way that we kind of like modified, kind of like the way that these cards work. So we wanted to add some extra for you to play around with, customise your character and do things. I'm going to move floors, and unless it's a challenge floor, I will end it. So I want to thank you all for watching the second dev video. Hopefully you can see some of the ways that we've improved the game, some of the ways that we've been customising it. We can get, go on. Oh yes. Again, go on. Oh sorry, I'm getting distracted. So as you can see, the ways that we've enhanced the game. Yeah, 9 damage. So you can kind of see that we want to add the customisation. We want players to basically go in, find these things, find items, find rare loot, and customise it. There's a long way to go in terms of what we want. There's loads of enemies that we need to put in. There's more bosses. We're currently working on the second boss at the moment. So hopefully that'll give you a better idea. Keep watching the arrow. Of where we're going with Eternal Step. So keep following us. Follow us on Twitch. Like our videos. You can find us pretty much anywhere. IndieDB, we're on there. Obviously our website. And keep an eye out for us in the future. So I will end it there. Come on, one more arrow. Go on. Ah, useless archer. Go on. No. Come on, one more. No, fine. Anyway, thank you for watching and see you again.